Mwananchi, tabia zako ziko chini, unapenda kulipa hongo na kutumia njia za uongo, una mipango na hata watoto wa kando, haujui hata majina yao. Kura yako uliuza maini figo, ukakulia hadi dini, kisha wasema tukuthamini, na wewe hapo hauaminiki, na wewe hapo haupangiki.
Wapi kidero when you need to slap somebody? Complain ufisadi kwani ulidhani t-shirt 50 bob leso siku ya campaign ilikuwa free? Ni 5 year loan investment utalipa kingia parliament. We are one, amani we are one. Na utumishi kwa wote, utu missing CCTV we were watching. Racial insecurity na job opportunity ni kama mti ya kibiriti. Side moja heavy, usiniambie Kenya kuna umaskini, kwani hizi fat fingers zinaibia nane? Maskando ina threaten our survival. Media define leadership, na sura ukiaka front page na improve readership. Ambia wase wa Twitter wa hashtag hii ama hash reality doesn't make a good TT. Commission of inquiry wanakula commission bila kutupa ukweli, ni kubaya. Baka kukiwa kuzuri unashindwa nini mbaya. Machozi ya perpetrator ineza dilute damu ya victim ilimwagika. After all is said and done, all will be said, nothing will be done. You're not my tribe, but you're my blood type. Like it doesn't have to take tragedy to know that.
Sheria,
A very good afternoon and welcome to Sheria Dive right here on Pawa Radio with me, James WaNjeri. Wow. Today I'm just looking out the window and ile mvua itanyesha ni ya kimataifa. Of course, just remembering that we've lost so many Kenyans. Just woke up this morning to the news about Maimahio. There's a dam in Maimahio that has overflown, broke its banks, and it's carried several people. I just saw this morning videos of bodies being retrieved from that mess. May they rest in peace. We have a serious crisis, and every day it appears that this flooding thing is getting more serious, and the results and the consequences keep getting worse every day. But just praying for those guys, and of course, everyone who's getting involved in those responses, just trying to get people to safer areas and to save those perhaps who are just finding themselves in a sea of water. Yeah? Na tuendelee kuomba manze. That's the only thing we can do. And of course, the government needs to do what it needs to do. Today, on Sheria Dive, we're talking about a thing that happens a lot in Kenya, and many people don't seem to realize what the legal position on it is. Do you have a second-hand phone? The phone you have now, how did you get it? Did you buy it from a guy who just told you, yeah, I have this phone I'm selling, and you bought it and that's it? Now, did you know that there is a possibility of finding yourself charged in court with an offense for buying second-hand devices or second-hand goods? All right? So today we're going to be talking about that. There is a law in Kenya that creates an offense of handling stolen goods. So when you're buying a second-hand product, what are some of the things you need to do to ensure that even if it was that product you're buying was as a result of a crime, you do not find yourself answering to criminal charges over it? I think sometimes Kenyans, we're a bit too casual in how we handle some of these things, and even buying second-hand phones. And phones have actually been one of the main things Of course, you're also going to be looking at people who just went and were found with bulls. Ngombe, a whole ngombe. Like, how do you just steal a whole cow and you think Ron is going to know that? We're going to be dealing with that. But for now, let's get some music. And then when we come back, we take a deep Sheria dive. This is Sheria Dive on Power Radio.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up. From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Batoto bakenya baba bakipera nambanane rada ni chafu sana. Hey ya rada ni chafu.
Nashangaa unaumwa nikiwa na furaha majamaa nimewaona muna kijicho wanataka niangamie wananiangalie wanataka niangamie wananiangalie wanataka niangamie wananiangalie wanataka niangamie wananiangalie
Mamblena wameshinda kwa mangoma wanadai kolabo Fizore king and you know Apana tambua zangu ni solo Hey, holla Fizo the king on a dollar Choma Had brain in a solar Panels, cartels Papi Don wana lola Hola Ambia amigos in the culture Nikitinga ni mapacha Penda steki wapi paja Kabla tuende seti ganja Wezidi buda naja Cheza chini cheza low coast Ohanga boss Niko lit niko warm Shikaga bong
Nashangaa unaumwa nikiwa na furaha majamaa nimewaona muna kijicho wanataka niangamie wananiangalie wanataka niangamie wananiangalie wanataka niangamie wananiangalie wanataka niangamie wananiangalie
chulo Pizo de don papi chulo Mlo Mbona mna deni sikule Radi na stima Mko wazima Wote nazima Itagazima Woto lazima Koma mapima Makali lazima Alafu chachisha Buda kalisha Hapa kanisa Padri itaga sister Mwisho ni Father Christmas
Nashangaa unaumwa nikiwa na furaha majamaa nimewaona muna kijicho wanataka niangamie wananiangalie wanataka niangamie wananiangalie wanataka niangamie wananiangalie wanataka niangamie wananiangalie
Cheki fiti city shiki Number 8 Mississippi Mshipi fiti msupa funga belt Do the game piki Liki hini bedrock Veggie skuma kila wiki Liki na hii muziki Goma safi bila kiki Wanaume wanafiki Level zangu hamufiki Marafiki wangu we Ashaningwai tafadhali musigwai Marafiki wangu we
Nashangaa unaumwa nikiwa na furaha majamaa nimewaona muna kijicho wanataka niangamie wananiangalie wanataka niangamie wananiangalie wanataka niangamie wananiangalie wanataka niangamie wananiangalie.
Yes, that's Octopizzo. And of course, before that, I know you're probably shocked. You're wondering, what's happening? Kwani umeingia FM gani hii? That was Mikilam by Lemarti Music Band. And of course, Zambe by Octopizzo and Maga. Today, we're talking about handling second-hand goods. Did you know that there are very many people today in Kamiti who, because they bought a phone from a guy, who knows a guy, it turned out that that phone probably had been taken as a result of a crime. And now they are behind committee because they could not explain how they came into contact with that phone. And so this applies to many things. So today we're talking about that. So when you're buying a phone or you're buying a TV or you're buying anything that is secondhand, we know already we have Akina Gigi and all this. how do you then ensure that what you're dealing with is a proper item that was not the result of a crime? Now, let's first start with the law. Under Section 322 of the Penal Code, the Penal Code is the act of parliament that contains all or almost all the crimes that you can commit in Kenya, okay? So it identifies the crime, and it also identifies the requirements that need to be met for a crime to be established to have happened, and also it gives guidelines on the punishment for the crime. Now, Section 322(1) and 2 of the Penal Code says as follows. A person handles stolen goods if otherwise than in the course of the stealing, knowing or having reason to believe them to be stolen goods, he dishonestly receives or retains the goods, or dishonestly undertakes or assists in their retention, removal, disposal, or realization by or for the benefit of another person, or if he arranges to do so. Then subsection 2 says, a person who handles stolen goods is guilty of a felony and is liable to imprisonment with hard labor for a term not exceeding 14 years. So it's interesting first to note that when it comes to handling stolen goods, all right, the first thing is that the prosecutor has to show the court that you knew, all right, or you had reason to believe that those were stolen goods. So now let me ask you a question. We uko hapo mtaani. A guy comes, you probably grew up with there in the hood. He's coming to sell you an iPhone 15. As in, you know for sure, there's no way this guy affords an iPhone 15. You've bought it. Can you really come to the court and say that, yeah, you know, I didn't know, I believe this was legit? So the first thing when you're buying something from someone, you have to determine is the character of the person you're buying from. Who are they? And are they someone who would be an owner of the item they're selling to you, right? Mtu amekuja kukuuzia TV, a 75-inch flat screen TV. I mean, you know this person, you live in the same hood. Where did they get the TV from? So one of the things you should always do when you're buying a second-hand item, lazima ulize, hii kitu umetoa wapi? Na ukiona hiyo jibu unapewa si straight, ondokea. You just leave that item and walk away. So the first thing is it has to be shown that you knew or you had a reason to believe that there were stolen goods. All right? Now, the second thing is this. Once it's established that you knew, then the prosecutor also has to show the court that you then received those goods. So for instance, ukisikia mtu ameshikwa amepelekwa kotini for handling a stolen phone, you'll often find that they were the ones who are found in possession of that stolen item. They're in possession of that stolen item, okay? Now, you can also be found in possession of stolen goods without having bought them, right? Where it's just that you are the one holding them. Someone has come and told you, nieke hizi vitu for a while, nitakujia. That is also handling stolen goods. So it doesn't always mean that you've bought. So even when people are coming to tell you, hold on to this for me, it's important for you to try and establish where are these things coming from. Unaweza kumekea mtu kitu kwa nyumba yako, thinking that, it's legitimate, it's a legitimate deal or something like that. Unless you are able to prove that, don't go ahead and hold on to such things. Now, today we're going to be looking at a case that happened that was ruled at the High Court, where this case involved stolen goods, but it also involved a rape and a murder. Just to give you an idea of how that phone that you buy could land you in hot soup, all right? So we're going to be looking at that when we come back as we learn more about what we need to consider when we are buying second-hand goods. Let's get some music.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Navutishwa, oh navutishwa, moshi pia napuliziwa. Navutishwa, oh navutishwa, naishi kama paka nalishwa. Navutishwa, oh navutishwa,
mapenzi sijalipishwa, navutishwa, oh, navutishwa mama. Navutishwa, oh, navutishwa mama. Sosi delivery, pombe kemikali, mapenzi halali, mapenzi legend. Silikuanga silali, hapo awali Kanairo hakuna amani. Hakuchi on fire, can't deny. Miguu zake unzunguka kama taya. Aki bend over, ni game over. Mwanga na sosi mpaka naitisha sosa. Na kulishwa matamu ya roho. Naogeshwa ngoza mbichi na valishwa kidogo tu ninyonyeshwe. Dredi zangu zisokotwe, shingo ni masajiwe. Nasanifiwa, naroliwa, kisha navutishwa. Navutishwa, oh, navutishwa. Moshi pia napuliziwa. Navutishwa, oh, navutishwa. Naishi kama paka nalishwa. Navutishwa, oh, navutishwa. Haya mapenzi sijalipishwa. Navutishwa, oh, navutishwa mama. Navutishwa, navutishwa mama. Kuamka kung'ara na kukaa tu, kula mahaba ya kistaarabu, na tabasamu bila sababu. Kitandani nafunzwa adabu, kukaa kukaliwa, kulala kulaliana na kulaliwa. Maisha ya gorofa, nikitoka kitandani naruka kwa sofa. Wifi imelipiwa nadekezwa upara na papaswa nabembelezwa natulizwa uso nakaliwa nasanifiwa, naroliwa, kisha navutishwa mama. Navutishwa, oh, navutishwa. Moshi pia napuliziwa. Navutishwa, oh, navutishwa. Naishi kama paka nalishwa. Navutishwa, oh, navutishwa. Haya mapenzi sijalipishwa. Navutishwa, oh, navutishwa mama. Navutishwa, oh, navutishwa mama.
Fantastic. That is Bien Navutishwa. Now, today we're talking about handling stolen goods, how you can actually find yourself handling stolen goods unaware. Okay? So, the case we're looking at today was decided at the High Court, and it was a criminal appeal from the Magistrates Court by Daniel Ruo versus Republic. Now, Daniel Ruo had been convicted of the offense of handling stolen goods before the Magistrates Court. And these are the facts of the case, right? Now, on 19th March 2011, in Nairobi, with others not before the court, who were armed with dangerous and offensive weapons, namely knives, a lady known as CKM was robbed of 800 shillings and a cell phone, a Nokia 2330C, which was valued at 4,300 shillings. All right? Now, during the robbery, there was a threat to stab the lady. We shall call her CKM for now. All right? Now, CKM was together with a gentleman known as Joseph Muindi, who also had a phone, a Nokia, that was valued at 4,300 shillings. And during the robbery, he was robbed, he was stabbed, and then he was killed. Right? Now, this guy was found guilty of this offense of handling stolen goods because there were two charges. The first charge was robbery because the robbery had taken place, but the second charge was handling stolen goods. So normally what happens in court is, at the criminal court, if a robbery has occurred, but also the goods were found in someone's possession, the assumption under law is that the person who is holding onto the item is also the one who carried out the robbery. But the court allows the prosecutor to charge you with an alternative charge so that in the event they don't have enough evidence to take you away on robbery, then they'll take you away on the lesser charge of handling stolen goods. All right? Now, he then filed an appeal against this decision. Okay? Now, in this case, what the police did is that when the lady went to report the crime that had been committed against her, she went to the police station where she was also able to provide receipts. And those receipts that she provided proved that she was the owner of the phone. Now, the police, while carrying out the investigations, tracked that phone to Umoja Estate, and they found it in the possession of a gentleman known as Mr. Saitoti. Now, once Mr. Saitoti was found, he was arrested and taken to the police station. In his defense, he said, "Someone sold me this phone." All right? So the police were like, okay, show us who sold you the phone. So Saitoti took the police to the house of our accused person, one Mr. Daniel Ruo, where he said, "This is a guy who sold me the phone, and that's how the phone came into my possession." Now, this case at the lower court had a total of 4 witnesses, right? The person who attacked CMK and Joseph Maundu was carrying a knife. When he met them, he asked them who they were and where they were going, before he suddenly stabbed Joseph Maundu on the chest. As he was bleeding, the assailant dragged CMK to a nearby bush where he raped her. He then asked her for her identity card. She handed him her handbag, which had some money amounting to 800 shillings, and the phone, which was a Nokia 2330, valued at 4,300. She returned to the scene where Joseph Maundu was attacked, and she found him bleeding profusely. Now, some people who were nearby told her that Joseph was dead. G4S security personnel saw her and took her to Kayole police station, where she reported the incident, after which she was escorted to Nairobi Men's Hospital for examination and treatment. Now, on her part, she was able to show the court that that phone belonged to her. Why? Because she had a purchase receipt, which is why it's also important. If you're buying an item, please hold on to the receipt. If you're afraid you'll lose the receipt, take a picture of it, send it to your email or send it to your Google Drive or anything like that, because that is proof of ownership. The other thing as well is when you buy a phone, for instance, keep the box. The reason why you're keeping the box is because should someone ever come to say that the phone belonged to them, then that box also acts as evidence that you are the real owner of that item. Now, the mobile phone, the second mobile phone that had been stolen was traced to a repair shop. All right? Now, when the police went to the repair shop, the people at the repair shop informed the police that it had been sold to one of their colleagues. When contacted by the police, that colleague said that it had been brought to him to sell by a Maasai man by the name Saitoti. Now, it is this Saitoti guy who disclosed that he had bought it from Daniel, who was now in court and had been arrested. So that is how Daniel was arrested. So what happened here? Daniel had a phone, sells it to Saitoti. Saitoti takes the phone, sells it to some guys who have a mobile phone repair shop. The phone is tracked there. When we come back, what did the court consider as they determined his guilt or his innocence? Remember, we're talking about handling stolen goods. As we share tips on how to ensure that you don't find yourself at committee maximum prison for handling an item that was probably stolen. Let's go.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
Mtoto ya Pamela Suda na papa Ambulioto Sheri kimula mimi nakufa aninyajo moko mami toyo fundena ahero sana pilirundo gawia nyatijo moka diri laloga pacha jotonga dengo tika yudo konyruok na aniwe ya uru monda sunge jabata opong tomola toti unanimalisa niisi na wewe milele mpaka kufa unisalie watoto mama na kuahidi utokosa aye idogode monda ketie kone mesa aseko ye inkora teri mosanyola mama na yeah. Muziki sentiment, muziki bila jasho. Mama, baby, nakufa, 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 Sheri. Mama, baby, oh la la la, nakufa, 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 mama, nakufa, 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 mama Sheri, usiniache nitakufa kilo naponipigia simu lazima nitakuja ukisema nikuje jioni nitanunua chupa mama lolo tupendane mpaka kufa oh Sheri mapenzi ya leo naogopa kwanza warembo wangolopa wameweka mitego kwenye mabaha ulo ila ukinitega sitakata nitakopa nitalima mama nitachanga nitaiba oh 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 tupendane mpaka kufa muziki ya pesa muziki bila presha Sheri mama baby nakufa 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 Sheri baby mama baby nakufa 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 baby baby nishaachana na mapombo za Ashura baby hata nafula namba yake nimefuta na kuashua hey. Usiku silali naona sura yako mrembo daily natamani kwako ningekuwa visible nateswa na rada kila nikikuona na huyu jamaa kweli mama unanifaa waniwa how do I live without you baby nenya ube wanje nipeleke eregi kwa mama nimweleze na baba girl I need you in my life now we when I see you holding hands kama mwezi usiku baby you know you're the one baby you're the one without you I can die baby nakufa nakufa baby nakufa 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 Sheri baby nakuhitaji without you siwezi
Our accused person, Daniel, had sold a newly acquired phone to FG. Now, FG was not party to these proceedings in court. Now, FG is someone they co-owned their phone repair shop with. And it was this G who then placed the phone on the shelf to sell. Okay, so this is a guy perhaps who would often, and a gentleman was killed. Now, after the prosecution witnesses testified, the court then ruled that Daniel had a case to answer and he was put on his defense. Now, in his statement, Daniel said that he was charged after failing to raise a bribe of 10,000 shillings. Now, one of the things you'll always notice is that even if you go to buy a second hand, because you could be dealing with an item that had been stolen from someone else and the ownership has passed through several people before coming to you. Now, in considering this appeal, the court begins by stating that when an accused person is arrested with alleged stolen goods, then it's upon him to disprove that he knew that the goods were stolen, all right? When you're found with stolen goods. Now, in this case, Daniel could not explain how he came into possession of the mobile phone. All he did is that he stated he knew nothing about it. On the other hand, the prosecution was able to show that it is him who last handled the phone after it left the hands of CMK, who had been the victim of the robbery. He had then sold it to the phone repairers, who then sold it to Saitoti, who helped the police to track him. So, in the eyes of the court, the prosecution had demonstrated that he had every reason to believe that the phone was stolen property. Now, was on the witnesses, the people who also worked at the repair shop. They gave proper testimony and evidence on how Daniel facilitated the sale of that phone to Saitoti, who then had brought it to G. Now, testimony of Gikama, who was a part owner, imprisonment that he had received. Now, the court was of the view that the term of 10 years imprisonment was necessary because a rape had occurred, right? And a murder had also occurred. Now, on this, the court was clear that no evidence had been brought to link our accused person to the rape and to the murder. The only thing that they could link him with was that he had received a phone, and that phone had been stolen. So to that extent, the court reduced the punishment from 10 years and brought it down to 5 years. Now, this is one of those very few cases where someone has the ability to appeal their case and probably to find a lawyer who can argue their case in court. Many people get a conviction from the lower court, and so this was a case where someone appealed and they were partly successful in their appeal. But as you'll note, they were unable. Daniel was unable to explain how he came into possession of this phone. And even though he says that he sold it, he still had to answer that question to the court. How did you receive this phone? So when we come back, I'll be giving you 4 tips that you can follow when you're buying a second-hand item, whether from someone you know or if someone you do not know, just to protect yourself and ensure that you do not become a guest of the state at committee maximum prison. Comprende? Let's go.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
There's a quarantine outside, ain't nobody leaving. It's after Valentine's, not yet July, and I wish it wasn't raining here. Oh. And I know you don't believe when I said I miss you more, but you don't know what I give to walk right to your door. Just to hear you say everything will be alright. Shit happens for a reason. We're finding ways to pass the time, searching for new meaning. I'm thinking maybe it's a sign for me and you to take this time to reset
loneliness inside. We on the phone for hours. You said everything will be alright. Shit happens for a reason. We're finding ways to pass the time, searching for new meaning. I'm thinking maybe it's you to take this time to reset and revive. Everything will be alright. We're finding ways to pass the time, searching for new meaning. I'm thinking maybe it's a sign for me and you to take this time to reset and rewind. Everything will be alright. It happened. We're finding ways to pass the time, searching.
Okay, the identity of the seller is key. All right, don't buy second-hand items from random people. In our case today, sometimes even the people you trust can actually bring you such items. Number 2, you need to have proof of the transaction. Pay for it. Sawa sawa. Pay for the second-hand.